Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so Crunchyroll buying stuff. I mean, let's be real, Sony buying stuff. Crunchyroll is buying stuff with Papa Sony's American Express Black Card. That's what's happening here. Yeah, so Crunchyroll bought Right Stuff. If you're unaware, Right Stuff is, if not the biggest, one of the biggest like anime retailers in the U.S. as far as like an online vendor. A lot of Blu-rays and DVDs, a lot of merch, stuff like that. And a lot of people on Twitter, of course, were freaked out about it because a lot of them were like, "They got rid of our 18+ stuff, guys. What's happening? Where can I not buy my porn?"
Not our anime movies.
Yeah, where are my porno anime movies? I've missed my hentai. Where to go? I think they had like a doujin section and stuff too, but the other side that was slightly more reasonable, I guess, was people were concerned that Sony has a vertical monopoly in the West for anime, which isn't 100% accurate, but it is they're almost there. You know, they're like at the 10-yard line for football people, or they're fucking the home stretch. They're almost there. They're like 80% way. Probably maybe less than that, but to break it down, I guess. So Sony, I think, has they have their own anime studio, but it's like very rarely does anything, and it's never anything that like slaps. But I think they have, I don't know if it's controlling stake, but they have stake in other companies that do anime. It's just not a lot of them. Then they have ownership over a lot of the music, but also Crunchyroll and Funimation, which is now just Crunchyroll. So as far as the distribution platform for streaming, they own the predominant thing in the West outside of High Dive. But let's be real, like no one's watching High Dive shit, except for the people that want to watch Your Boy Coming and Call of the Night. High Dive has like 1 or 2 good shows a season max. I'm not gonna lie though, I've been tempted. To watch it.
I'm quitting hearing is only on High Dive.
There's another ones, you know. They've got a small stable of reasonably okay things.
I'm not watching it on High Dive, but it's on.
Oh yeah, you know, it's there. And then they now have Right Stuff. So pretty much from a distribution standpoint on, Sony has control in the West. So where you're streaming it, Sony owns it. Where you're buying the merchandise, Sony owns it. Where it's being dubbed for the West, Sony owns it because it's largely Funimation. Sure, Netflix does their own thing. I think Sony owns either outright or a good portion of Aniplex, and occasionally they'll do dubs. And then you have like Sentai Filmworks that'll occasionally do a dub, but it's rarely to be streamed. So the vast majority of dubbed anime goes through that pipeline. This leads to an interesting thing that we've talked about, I think, before. But it kind of made me think, what is the best way to like be customer friendly or consumer friendly into this market? Or like, do you want everything in one place? Like, do I want one subscription where I can just watch all my shit?
Yes.
Even if it's controlled by one group?
Yes, I don't give a fuck.
Or do I, want it to be like, oh, there's 4 different people I have to fucking pay subscriptions to with a variety of bullshit.
To it max. I was okay with Crunchyroll and Funimation because it's like $8.99, $9.99.
Yeah, they weren't uber expensive. They were fairly reasonable.
Yeah. It's $20 for both of it. I was okay. I'm not gonna buy 3. I wasn't gonna do Crunchyroll, Funimation, and High Dive.
Yeah.
Or
the other one,
now,
whatever it is.
if it's and everything's all going to go to Crunchyroll, so eventually I'm not going to have Funimation anymore.
Yeah.
Hopefully by this time next year that'll be done.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But I was thinking, like, what is like, because the complaint people would have, and I don't think it's necessarily unfounded, if Sony largely controls what we get in the West, they're probably going to make some dumb fucking choices eventually.
Right.
Because I tried to think about this as like, where else would Sony have enough leeway in like an entertainment space? And if it's a gaming's the big one, obviously. And I was like, okay, if Sony had like 80% market share or some dumb shit in Japan when like the PS2 came out or something, what dumb decisions since then would we be stuck with? We would still have UMDs. We still have HDR block recording bullshit still. Limited manufacturing stuff, which isn't necessarily Sony's fault 100%, but stupid expensive consoles. I doubt the PS4 would have been reasonably cheap by comparison to the PS3 and PS5. But yeah, it just makes me think as like, if Sony, because I think the issue right now, like Sony, I don't think can do that just because I think there's too much demand for too much from Japan. And there's too much things they don't control from a production standpoint. Because the only thing that's going to keep those distribution platforms with Crunchyroll and Right Stuff going is you have to have the popular shit, right? If Right Stuff doesn't have the popular Blu-rays, no one's going to buy shit from them. If you don't get all the hot simuldubs or you start simuldubbing weird shit, people will leave Crunchyroll. So I was like, okay, how do you make that easier? And I think we're probably where it is. It's peak right now. Like, you don't get any easier than what we have. Because, like, as much as I want to bitch about it, like, High Dive, I think, is like $6 or $7 a month, too. It's not that expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't want to fucking start it up again, so, whatever. But it made me think a lot. It's like, Steam couldn't necessarily work in this situation, like a Steam-like solution. But that's kind of what Crunchyroll is to an extent. Like, it's not exactly the same, but I was like, maybe that would be an interesting thing. Like, if you had Steam come out. Not Steam, but like a Steam-like thing. It's like a service you have to download, have an account. No subscriptions, but old backlog shit that no longer has a Blu-ray, you can buy a digital copy of. Put that bitch on sale, Steam sales and everything, because like, you don't want to have the hot shit, because then it's going to conflict with Blu-ray sales and streaming. But there's a bunch of that shit, especially if that Funimation catalog starts getting cut like the way I think it will, that's just going to disappear. And people are going to go right back to piracy, which, depending on how you feel about it, whatever. But anime is one of those things that we have kind of a restricted access to in the West anyway. Fuck it. Like, I don't think my whatever $10, $12 Crunchyroll subscriptions keeping the anime industry afloat. I'd watch pretty much everything there anyway. But, if I want to watch Call of the Night, I'm probably not going to go start a Crunchyroll or a High Dive subscription. If it was on Crunchyroll, I'd watch it. But I don't think I'm going to go that far. I also don't know that I care enough to find it online either, so. But there's stuff like Zapang. Like, I had to watch Zapang on a place that will remain unnamed because no one fucking had it. Like, I would have to secondhand buy the DVD, which, since it's not been out in fucking 14 years, was exorbitant. It was like $80 for part 1 Blu-ray, and I'm like, you can get fucked, bro. Not even Blu-ray, it's a DVD, because I never got a Blu-ray. But yeah, a bunch of that shit, I think, would be an interesting idea for old backlogged stuff. If Crunchyroll gets to the point where a lot of other streaming services have got to, where you either have to raise your price or start cutting stuff because you're not going to get more subscribers, that's the way to do it. Sure, just sell some shit through Right Stuff, sell Blu-rays, whatever the price Blu-rays are. If you can find a way to do digital only, have a client that's got a good video player in it for Crunchyroll, bam, money. And then you don't have to I guess you'd still have to have server space for it, but that's a way to pay for that server space, I suppose. Because like HBO is doing its weird thing with Discovery next year, where like they're combining because everyone, people at WB are like, oh shit, people are like paying way less to just watch HBO and streaming than they are to play for the fucking cable subscriptions, and shit. And I think Discovery's streaming service probably didn't do very well. So, but like a bunch of WB shit got cut, and a bunch of people were saying a lot of streaming stuff's gonna get cut or moved back to just cable subscription because that's more currently lucrative for them. And Netflix, yeah, like they've always had like a rotating roster of stuff, but they've continued to raise their prices, and Stranger Things kind of brought it back and was a banger, I guess.
Only every couple of years that it comes.
Yeah, like there's nothing consistently on Netflix that I'm like, this validates spending $20 a month.
I think they even said, like when Stranger Things came out this year, obviously their subscriptions increased.
Yeah.
And then like the next month they went back down because everybody already watched it.
Yeah, I think that's I think Disney's slowly starting to run into this problem because they can't have things constantly coming out. It's been like, it started like a week between things, and people are like, okay, that's kind of a nice break. But now, like, I think since Miss Marvel ended, it's going to be almost a month, if not more, until the next thing, which is either She-Hulk or Andor, one of the two. So yeah, I think people start kind of just dropping those subscriptions. But, Disney's got more money than God, so I think they'll be fine.
It's true.
But yeah, I think that's a thing. There is, I think Cyberpunk, Edge Runner, and the new Castlevania thing. When those come out, I'll be like, okay, I can justify this month of Netflix. But everything else, I'm like, yeah, this. Other than Vinland Saga, I'll probably try to blow through that sometime. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, until it's like the monopoly, like you've been saying, like WB's been canceling a lot of stuff. That's mostly what I've seen in the news. Like they canceled Batgirl.
Yeah, which was done in test screenings.
It's already it was already done, and they just like, we're not going to show it.
Yeah. It's like
it's not,
bro.
It's not. What is that? That sunken cost. And apparently they're like, oh, it's not too far gone, even though they released Morbius twice.
Yeah, like
theaters.
Because it really makes me think that this is a build up to maybe canceling Flash. Because Flash is fucking done, for real done. Batgirl, there's probably some touch up and stuff, but it was done too. And it's bro, these are not cheap movies. Flash is what the fucking stupid ass budget on Flash? Hold on.
It was $200 million.
Yeah, it was stupid expensive.
Yeah, they're like, we spent $200 million on it, so we're still gonna release it. Even though Ezra Miller
fucking nuts. Oh, come on, tell me. Budget. $200 million. Which means that shit with marketing, probably closer to 3. Maybe they don't cancel that, but that shit. Oh, weird. Shows it was supposed to come out June 23rd. That's obviously passed, so I guess it got delayed. Maybe they're waiting until this whole thing, or maybe making a new excuse for COVID or something. Now I'm curious, what was Batgirl?
Supposed to have Michael Keaton in it too.
Yeah.
And Brendan Fraser. Funny?
Is Robot Man?
No.
Oh, just as someone else. Okay. I thought he was supposed to be in something else, because another DC thing is he was supposed to be Firefly, I thought, or something like that.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah, I think he got canceled.
Batgirl's reported budget was $70 million, so probably closer to like 100 to 150 somewhere. That shit's ridiculous. Like, WB, how you out here canceling $100 million movies like it's nothing? That shit's crazy. But yeah,
it's gonna be Firefly in Batgirl.
That kind of sucks. I really would have liked to see Brandon Fraser.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. I like him doing stuff.
Yeah, I like Doom Patrol. I like that he's back in Doom Patrol.
Yeah. But yeah, I know, just the whole Sony thing and WB doing all that weird shit with HBO and Netflix's perpetual issues just got me thinking. I was like, I wonder where anime's going. I wonder what Crunchyroll's gonna look like in like 5 years. It's like, outside of a few weird navigations issues, Crunchyroll works fine. Like, the video player's fine. It's not hard to find things. Your watch list is pretty easy to use. And it's not uber expensive.
Yeah.
Which means they're either going to, like, I don't know, maybe Sony will just leave it alone and let them run it. That's kind of what they've done in the past with, like, Funimation and stuff. Kind of minor changes, I suppose. But yeah, I just don't like... I feel like any changes they make are probably going to be the, like, oh, here's, like, one good lifestyle change or ease of use change with, like, 10 other dumb bullshit things that you didn't need, but we're getting paid to make up new features, so deal with it. I don't know.